Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, welcome on in, everybody. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us, Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. Alex Napolis hitting the buttons back there. Who's got his arms crossed over? That's double button pushing right there. I mean, he's like literally DJing this thing right now. It's phenomenal.
It's like watching him play the drums.
I think he was just moving his hands around to look busy.
Those buttons don't do anything, do they?
Flurry of they're all dead.
Beep, pop, 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 pop.
Lloyd's all don't let.
I gotta make it look like I'm doing something.
Lloyd's like, don't let the secret out. These buttons all do something. All right.
Oh, now we know how the sausage is made.
Listen, no, we couldn't do these shows without all the people that are around us, including the people listening. More importantly, the people who are listening to us. So thanks for being a part of the program today. Thanks for hanging out on a, JJ, we talk about this being like it's a downtime of the year. Certainly our lives have slowed down a little bit because we just don't have the local teams playing games every Saturday. We don't have media availability for our college football teams every week.
The football season is very demanding. And those of you listening, you're consuming more, right? So that's how it works. And it's starting to slow down a little bit because college football's come to a screeching halt. We do a lot with high school football as well, but the NFL is what's left. And, so our schedule's a little more open.
But think about what we've added onto our plates here also, because not only are the Jazz going and already to double-digit wins. You hear me out there?
And this team doesn't suck anymore.
Yeah, but.
Can I say that officially?
Yeah, but.
The Utah Jazz don't suck anymore.
How about.
They're good and they're fun to watch.
How about when Anthony Davis was a scratch? I went, oh, no, it's a tank off.
It kind of was.
It's a tank off. And you know what it was?
It was a fun tank off.
It was really fun because the Mavericks know the assignment a little bit. Not really. I mean, they've got their Cooper flag. They've got Cooper flag.
They don't need a tank animore unless they're really interested in A.J. DeBonson.
But how amazing is it? I mean, they know they're not going to go immediately to, playoff status.
They probably know the odds of them winning the lottery again are slim to none.
Yeah, but they also know that they're not going to be top third of the league this year yet.
Not even close. That's not a good team.
Right. And so then you go, hey, that's awesome. Get our rookie Cooper Flag, the 40-point game, the first person to ever do it. Why do the Jazz always have to be the team to be the fill in the blank they broke the scoring record on? Doesn't it feel like that?
Yeah, it does.
Kobe 60.
There's been some notorious Jazz killers over the years. Some random players that drop a ton of points on the Jazz. You're like, never heard of that guy.
Well, the thing is that all the headlines that you read, you would have thought to yourself, Cooper Flag scores 40, Mavericks win by 32. They lost to the Jazz, and Keontae George had 37 points. Now, that's not a sexy storyline.
Lowry
Third-year guy,
33.
I know, third-year guy who's figuring it out. Was he the 16th overall pick from Baylor? 16th, right?
Yeah, he was, yep.
And I'm watching it and I'm going.
One of the picks from the Rudy Gobert trade.
How amazing that this team is kind of. Now, that aside, we're going to get to a Jazz Daily in just a moment because I was blown away by last night's game for all sorts of reasons. But from a local standpoint, let's talk about, before we get into the cut, because I do want to, Eric Kerr very well. You've covered not just a lot of his games, you've also interviewed him, I don't know, a few dozen times at some point in your career now. And this is a guy who, in his stint in high school football here in the state of Utah, wherever he goes, he doesn't just win, he creates dynasties. Let me tell you who else did that. Joey McGuire in Texas.
Yes.
The Dodges, son and dad. Westlake High School down in Austin, Southlake Carroll up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Those guys are legends. And what do they do with those legends? They graduate them sometimes to the next level. We talked about this during the state championship game when Corner Canyon notched their 6th out of the last 8 state championships, their second three-peat in this run. And we said, do you think Eric Kerr, do you think that'd be a fit at Weber State? And what did you tell me?
Yes, it would.
It wouldn't.
In
you
fact,
were like,
that would be a home run hire
that's
for
what
the
you
Weber
said.
State
It
Wildcats.
would be a slam dunk, a home
Perfect
run,
fit.
all the stuff.
He's got a son that plays there.
And I think the discussion was, yeah, but, and it was almost like how do you pull him away from the success he's having at Corner Canyon? I was like, what? This is Weber State, man. This is the next. You're going straight to Division I FCS football here.
That's a big jump.
That's a huge jump. Initial thoughts, because I know they're going to have a press conference with him later today, and we could probably talk about this at some point in the future too. But what does that do in terms of an upgrade from Mickey Mental, who was let go partway through the season, versus now with Eric Kerr, who's coming in from Corner Canyon High School?
So remember what Jay Hill did at Weber State for a decade, an incredible run. Jay Hill understood Utah. Jay Hill knew this state. He recruited this state. He's from this state. He played high school football in the state, college football in the state, coached in the state. Eric Kerr didn't play college or high school football and college football here in the state, but he's from Kemmer, Wyoming, and he's been here a long time, and he knows how important it is to build with talented kids here in Utah. He knows how good Utah kids are, just as Jay Hill did. And Eric Kerr is one of the great offensive minds I've ever been around and seen at any level.
Really?
I mean that.
Yeah.
What he's done at Corner Canyon is unbelievable. Why can't he build something like that at the FCS level? Built on the back with a backbone of Utah kids. Just as Jay Hill understood that, just as Gary Anderson understood that at Utah State, I believe Eric Kerr is going to go to Weber State. He's going to build 50% of that roster minimum on Utah kids. He's going to go out and get high-level quarterbacks, and he's going to run that offense that he's been running that's been successful with a number of kids. Remember, Zach Wilson and Jackson Dart are in the NFL. Those are his quarterbacks that he coached and mentored.
Bro.
Let me go through this list.
Hold on. Before you do, though, because my brain just went there. Not that I'd be the first person to think of it.
I know where you're going.
Why wouldn't number 11 from the University of Utah, who just hit the transfer portal, go straight back to his high school coach and run it back?
I have no idea what Isaac Wilson wants to do or what opportunities are presented to him, but there is no shame in Isaac Wilson going to Weber State,
Reinventing himself.
reuniting
Come
with
on.
his coach, Eric Kerr, where he became a high school All-American, and duplicating that kind of success at the FCS level. There's no reason why Isaac Wilson should not want to take on the challenge of building a legacy at Weber State at that level. You can play FCS football and go on to the next level. Cam Ward is the number 1 overall pick. He played FCS football.
Yep. Zero stars.
Jack Kelly,
Yeah.
who's going to be an NFL draft pick, played at Weber State. He started at Weber State.
Diego Pavia, New Mexico Military Institute.
JUCO.
Yeah.
Jake Retzloff,
JUCO.
Look, find where you can play and be successful. And what better place to do it for Isaac Wilson than with his former head coach at Corner Canyon in a state where he's from, where people are going to absolutely get behind him and love him, and he can be a hero at Weber State and take that program back to where they were during the Jay Hill era, which is competing in the FCS playoffs and making a run at a national championship. And I think that Eric Kerr is absolutely built for this. This is a perfect job for him. This is a home run hire for Weber State. He knows Utah. He's going to get Utah kids. People say, what, Corner Canyon recruiting, blah, blah, blah. No, they didn't have to recruit. Those kids wanted to be coached by Eric Kerr. High-level, 4-star kids wanted to be coached by Eric Kerr. They came to him. You don't think that's going to happen at the college level?
I
He's
agree.
the kind of coach that is such a high-level guy with the way he operates, the way he does things. High-level athletes want to be a part of what he does. They want to learn from him. They want to be coached from him. They want to be great. And he's a coach that is great and can make kids great.
Deliver all those.
What he did at the high school level, he can do at the college level. Huge moment for Weber State. If you're a Weber State fan, this is a big day for you because you're going to get back to doing what you did under Jay Hill. I promise you that.
I tell you, I had a conversation one time with a guy up at Weber State. My son was up there for a golf thing, and the guy, he said, "Hey, do you do the KSL sports thing?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am." And he goes, "Next time you see Jay Hill, you tell him beep, 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 beep. Like, he was pissed. He was mad.
Good. You know
And
what?
I was
I'm
like,
okay with that.
I know. And I
You
said,
care.
I
You
said,
care about
well,
Weber State.
And he works up at the university, and he goes, I've been working here for 25 years, and that guy, we thought he was loyal, and I was like, well, sometimes it's crazy. I said, aren't you kind of happy for him, though? Like, he's like, no, absolutely not. And I went, I get it. You want to guard your own ball. When you're in a place like Weber State, you don't get the attention everybody else does. I just thought. And so that guy, guess what? I think you guys got better today. I couldn't say that when they hired Mickey Menzel.
No doubt about it. And, Jay Hill was there for 10 years, and the honest answer is Jay Hill gave everything. He was there longer than he should have been.
Yeah.
He gave that school everything. So I love the guy's passion. He's wrong, but I love the guy's passion. And
he was so mad.
Weber State fans, you should be that way. It's your school.
I know.
You love that school. You love that program. You want a coach that's going to make you proud. You got one today.
All right. Here's what we're going to do. We got ourselves that was just a little bit of an aside. We have such a short show today.
We're trying to jam a lot
I'm
into an
doing
hour.
like 2 segments each segment, okay? So our producer, Alex Napolis, is like, come on, you freaking guys. Like, get on to what we're going to talk about. And that's what we're going to do right now. So let's kick off the show officially after that little parting of what we were going to talk about initially. But here we go. Let's get right back into it. It's the cut, top of the show.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program, TRAJANwealth.com. That's Trajan Wealth for all your trusted local needs in retirement. TrajanWealth.com. Okay. So, of all the things that are going on today, of all the things that we've been keeping our eye on, of course, one of the things that piqued our interest yesterday, at the very end of the show, I was like, let's do this tomorrow. And here we are. And I want to talk about it. And the comment from Joel Klatt that hit the internet yesterday and sort of broke it, I wanted to sort of break down because I think that there's a lot of truth to a statement that got him a lot of heat. Because most of the time people compare the NCAA tournament as the gold standard of tournaments, of collegiate athletics, because, hey, you have this mix of Cinderellas clashing with giants, and anybody could win this tournament, or at the very least, you can make a run. And Joel Klatt, there is a lot of truth, I think, to some of the things he said, but here's the full comment, and I want you guys to listen to this, and then JJ, we'll jump in here, and you can give your thoughts on it too, because I want to get your thoughts on when he defamed your beloved NCAA tournament, because that's what he does. And here's what Joel Klatt said. And this was all based off of the college football playoff discussion. So catching strays are small programs. And weirdly enough, the NCAA tournament, here's what he said.
The reason the group of 5 is included in this playoff is to avoid antitrust litigation. That's it, guys. Like, we're not looking for a Cinderella. Nobody cares in football about James Madison or the equivalent of George Mason going. Didn't George Mason go to the Final Four or something like that? Nobody cares in football about that. We don't want Cinderellas. We want the best teams playing each other at the end. In fact, hot take. I mean, like the hottest of all takes that I've ever had in my entire life. The NCAA basketball tournament is a joke. It's the dumbest tournament and the least fair tournament in all of sports. We go and we put teams at odd times on neutral sites in a 1-game affair. Like, that doesn't crown a true champion. We're not doing anything that tells us who's the best team over the course of the entire season. If anything, the NCAA basketball tournament should act exactly like the old World Cup, which we should have groups. They should all get guaranteed 3 games. And they should be played at the higher seeds arena so that those seeds are rewarded for a quality game. And that way we don't just get to see, Kentucky one and done against George Mason or something like that. Well, that's stupid. That's stupid. Again, hottest of all takes, but that would make the NCAA basketball tournament far better. Neutral site, one and dones? What are you doing?
Yeah, you know who loves that, though, is CBS. I mean, it's great for CBS.
I guess.
Well, it
sucks for the fans.
CBS paid billions of dollars for it. Yeah. No, I'm with you.
True.
It doesn't determine, I think more often than not, when we get our football national champion, you're able to look back and say, yeah, it's probably the best team all season. Or,
and I think
close enough, I'm comfortable with it. Yeah.
Yeah. The year Georgia missed a couple of years ago, I was like, when Michigan won,
yeah,
I was
maybe
like,
not.
man,
Yeah.
that was a tough one when Bama beat them in the SEC championship game. But that's a hot take. So back to the group of 5. I think that in order to separate it out, the group of 5 will have to be incentivized somehow, and specifically from a financial perspective, to go play their own championship. I think that would be better for them anyways. But if that doesn't happen and they get cut out of the finances, they will sue and will wind up in court, and they'll be in the playoff moving forward.
Okay, so two-parter here.
A lot of layers there, my goodness.
Let's just do the 2 big parts of
Okay.
it, which were, one, that the college football playoff doesn't need the group of 5 teams. This is a year that everybody already agrees with them, I think, a little bit.
It's a bad year for it to have this argument if you're trying to champion the group of 5, because I don't think James Madison or Tulane are the best group of 5s we've seen in a situation like this.
Yes. And, because we've had other teams that are 13-0, and we're looking at them
Technically,
going,
Cincinnati a few years ago was a group of 5 that got in the 4-team college football playoff.
And I get it. I don't think that it's shorting these teams. I do think that there is a quality level of football that is – the disparity is so big right now that it's hard to say. And then the teams you left out, including massive brands, that the TV powers would have loved to have seen instead of JMU and Tulane, they're going to be in this. So I'm kind of there with him when he said, dude, and I agree with that. We don't want Cinderellas. We won't want Cinderellas. We want the best football games possible. I agree with that. But I think inside of the 12 teams, there are the ones who you think don't have a chance, even if it is a Notre Dame and BYU getting added into it. You'd look and you go, okay, there are these teams with the lowest odds. There's no way they're doing it, right? And then you look and you go, but the talent should be good enough that they could make a run. That's not the case with Tulane, and that's not the case with JMU. However, and then here's the second part to me. You have to look at the NCAA tournament. We've done the comparison thing too much. They are so far away from one another. They are so far distant from one another that you can't just go, well, the NCAA tournament and basketball, it's terrible. You know why? Because you have all these other teams. It's a totally different beast, not just from the sense of how many teams are playing, but what we love about it is we throw these teams on a neutral site at a weird time. That's the nature of the tournament. It's what makes it beautiful is you bring 68 teams and try to figure it out.
It's a true test.
And you and I said this because you have Cinderellas all the time. You know, you don't have at the end those Cinderellas winning the national championship.
Let me read the last 10 NCAA tournament champions and stop me when you get to one that wasn't the best team in the country. Florida, UConn, Kansas, Baylor, Virginia, Villanova, North Carolina, Villanova, Duke. Where was the upset?
I didn't hear you.
Where was the?
I thought UMBC won 2 of those national championships, right?
At what point did a Cinderella win it all?
Yeah, but this is the point. And I think when he says that, he goes, it's not a true champion.
This is where he's wrong.
Because I think once it gets to the Final Four, you have the best team still. Now, that regardless of that, his beef with the NCAA tournament, you need to look at it differently. And by the way, when he goes, nobody benefits from this. I mean, I guess CBS, and I'm like, CBS only pays billions of dollars because you and I and Joe Q viewer out there loves it.
People take work off on the Thursday and Friday
and if
of the
they're
NCAA
not,
tournament.
They have that fake spreadsheet open with the games on.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. It is a great, great tournament. And it is wholly different from this. Never compare the two.
They're apples and oranges.
The two sports aren't just different. The two bodies that are taking care of it are totally different. The two groups that are, even the TV executives talking about these two things approach it very differently. This is a cash cow, the football side of things, from a very different perspective. The NCAA tournament is a cash cow from a very different perspective. It's different. It lives in a different world. However, I do agree with him that I don't like the idea of putting multiple group of 5 teams in when it just felt like even they knew that they weren't necessarily on that level.
I don't like Miami being in it.
Miami
I don't
is
think
not
they deserve
good
to be in it.
And to watch Mario Cristobal talk about that it was some sort of a given, and when they make this run and everything, I'm like, I can't. I want Miami
head-to-head determines who's in the tournament. I guess Florida State deserves to be in the playoff because
I know.
they beat Alabama.
I read this Alabama stat today that kind of pissed me off because they were talking about the 3 SEC teams that are limping into the playoff out of the 5. They're like Texas A&M, kind of playing the worst football it's played all year. I know, but
Notre Dame, who missed the playoff.
Specifically, they were like, recently they're kind of struggling. They had to have a 27-point comeback against a 4-8 team.
Yeah, because their schedule wasn't great.
Right, and then they get beaten by a Texas team that, by the way, was well inferior to any of these other teams that are in the playoff. But the Alabama stat that was crazy was they hadn't beaten an opponent with a winning record since November 8th. They hadn't beaten a team with a winning record since November 8th.
Right.
What that means is beaten by Oklahoma at home, obviously, and all that. Blown out by Georgia in
the team you beat in October, right?
The SEC championship game, blown out by them. And to me, to look at that stat, I went, ugh, this feels yucky. Like, that's beyond backing in.
Yep.
You go back and you go, yeah, we were awesome back in October. So many other teams, like, that's not the case. That's not what we're looking for. So I get it. There's a lot of talent on all these rosters that can actually make it to where there's a reason the NFL is awesome. Every week you get in there and you go, man, the Browns put up a fight. Well, not this week. But, I mean, sometimes you go, man, that team put up a fight. Why? Because they're freaking athletes on those teams, and they are really good, and the coaches are the best, and blah, blah, blah. All those things come together to make it a 10-6 game when it should have been a 4. You know, in college, we know when the 4 touchdown blowouts are going to happen between teams. And so I don't know what this playoff is going to bring coming up this weekend, but it will be a shame. But I want it to happen. I want the group of 5 teams to get absolutely embarrassed. You know why? Because even good teams last year were embarrassed, and they were blown out in the first rounds. I want to see those teams blown out, and then we look at them and we go, what are we doing? And then you look and you go, who are the teams that didn't make it in? Oh, geez, Notre Dame and BYU, I think they would have been better options at this point.
So then we go to 16 to try to get those teams in.
I still think shoehorning in those group of 5 teams is not the best option either.
But there are years where something special could have happened. The 2004 and 2008 Utes could have made a deep run in a playoff. Those TCU teams could have made a deep run. There are years where BYU could have got in and made some noise.
Yeah, I get it.
But when you shut those teams out, he mentioned it. Okay, well, if that's what we're going to do, okay, let's go. Let's break it off. You want Power 4 football? Let's do it. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Group of 5 has their own championship like FCS. Power 4 has their own. But you can't even get the Power 4 on the same page. There isn't a Power 4. There's a Power 2. And then the Power 2 are arguing over who they think's better and more superior. They're not going to get on the same page. So we're never going to have that. The SEC is not going to relinquish their power and their brand and their prestige. The Big Ten's not going to do it either. The Big Ten has more money than the SEC. So who's going to win that fight? Who's got more money? This is all, ultimately, it comes down to it, this is all kind of broken. Who's going to fix it? And how are we going to fix it? And what are the solutions here? And who's going to make up those solutions? And how are those solutions going to get made without the people who have the most at stake making those decisions, which is the ones that make the money? ESPN and Fox.
Yeah, and then after that, the Big Ten and the SEC. Like those are the powers that be.
But to break off this power, you're going to break off and they're going to form the super conference. Well, the SEC's not going to give up their brand and who they are. The Big Ten's not going to do that.
Yeah.
So what is the super conference, and how are you going to talk the SEC and the Big Ten to giving up their brands?
All right. We've yelled about it enough. We've yelled about it enough. We got to take a break. Shortened show today. We have Jazz Daily coming up next. We're going to get you, of course, the update from last night's game and how that went down. They've been in overtime the last 2 games, and guess what? It was a thriller last night. Tons of points scored by a lot of young guys, and even the veteran Larry Markkinen getting involved in it, and the Jazz get the W at home against the Mavericks. But that was the secondary storyline. It was, wow, can you believe Cooper Flagg scored all those points? On Wednesday, that's tomorrow, it's a Win Ticket Wednesday. This week, it's going to be Youngblood's the Idols World Tour at the UCCU Center in Orem on May 13th, 2026. Tickets are on sale right now at livenation.com, but you can also get those tickets tomorrow when you listen to the KSL Sports Zone all day across all the shows. There you go. There's your Win Ticket Wednesday. We'll come back. We have Jazz Daily next, and I've got some Jazz tickets on a Jazz Ticket Tuesday to give away as well. So stay with us. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
What time is it?
Your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
10 on the shot clock. Lowry isolated right wing on Christie. Swings through to his right. Double team comes. He shoots over the top. He hits! Oh, filthy from Lowry marketed. Deontay now rolls off Lowry. Rises, fires. Pow! Keontae George. 3-ball, no. Marketed! Soaring high! Above the mountains! Pierced down on the Wasatch Front! And rim rocks it home! And the Jazz are going to grab this one!
You're locked into JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everyone. A shortened edition of JJ and Alex as we're going to bring you your Utah Mammoth pregame coming up at the top of the hour. So we're jamming everything in here that we can. It's our Jazz Daily. It's also a Jazz Ticket Tuesday, so we're going to give away some Jazz tickets right now. Be calling number 12 to 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE, 801-575-9663. You get a pair of tickets to see the Jazz and the Magic coming up on Saturday at Delta Center. That's a 7:30 tip that day. So there you go. Just be calling number 12, 801-575-ZONE. I was watching this game last night. I got to see the second half. I was sort of monitoring it when I was hanging out with the kids, watching some, looking at some Christmas lights. And I said, and my kid goes, hey, what's the score? I go, ooh, this is a high-scoring game here at the half. Not a lot of defense, 75-71. And he was like, who scored when did the Jazz scored the most points? I go, funny you ask, this year. I mean, maybe it was the second or third highest, but it was 154 in regulation, right? This team can score.
Yep.
And the teams can score on them. Right. I'll tell you what, the Jazz get the win in overtime. And the whole second half, maybe it felt like this for you. I'm watching it, and I'm like, it just kept being between 5. They were down by 5 or down by 9 or down by 7 or down by 6, and it just kept going up that way. And once I got to like 115, it was like 115 to 111. I'm like, they don't have what it takes to get it over the top, and I'm fine with it. Perfect. Because Keontae was having a good night. Lowry was having a good night. Cooper Flagg was going nuts, and that was kind of fun for everybody in attendance, I think, at Delta Center, right?
Yeah.
To watch that whole thing.
You came to watch Cooper Flagg last night, right?
Look, you got 270 points scored. You know what I mean? Like, this was
you
was
got
awesome.
An extra 5 minutes.
Come on, yes.
Bonus basketball.
For the last 2 games, the Jazz have won both of them in overtime. I told you this is a team that likes to win in overtime, JJ. However, let me give you some numbers because it wasn't just Cooper Flagg's 40 points, but the Jazz, on their side of things, to see the numbers that Lowry Markkanen put up, how about a full 40 minutes from Lowry? That's pretty darn good.
Dang.
33 points in those 40 minutes, 16 rebounds. What a freaking night for Lowry.
Yeah.
And on any regular night, you'd go, holy cow, that's amazing.
And he only shot 1 of 6 from 3.
Keontae George goes 37, 6, and 5. Great night for him. I think that the 6 is the real difference, too, for this guy. You weren't even seeing him on nights that he'd get 14 points, get 6 assists last year.
How many turnovers did he have last night?
Oh, that was his biggest rip. I don't know how many did he have.
Just 2.
See, the turnover.
6-to-2 turnover, assist to turnover
oh, my
ratio.
Goodness.
That's elite.
It's night and day. However, let me bring you some numbers. When Lowry Markkanen was on the floor, the Jazz were plus 27. Okay? Cody Williams was on the floor there, plus 15. Like, these guys.
That was the biggest shock of the night.
That's crazy. He had 22 minutes, first of all.
He was great.
And went for 11. Yeah. And so last night, to me, I know that everybody wonders, what are you doing? You just won your 10th game. You know when they won we looked it up. You know when they won their 10th game last year? January 12th. They're a month ahead of schedule. I say ahead of schedule. What schedule do you want them to be on? Are people disappointed?
I know what schedule the Oklahoma City Thunder want them to be on.
Yeah, they're cheering them on. Yeah, man.
Sam Presti's in his office right now.
Hook it up.
Go,
Why
Jazz,
not?
go.
That's what I'm saying. So, in the end, though, when you see a night like last night, all you can do is take it on it for face value, because I don't want to have to worry about the behind-the-scenes front office stuff and whether or not you want this. So you're really going to tell me, after all the bickering and moaning that we did during the offseason, that we're going to ask this Jazz team to slow it down and to stop winning? It's hard because we know what's at stake. However, are you going to negotiate that against the development of Keontae George, against Bryce Sensabaugh, against the development, who, by the way, Bryce Sensabaugh, he needed those 22 minutes last night. He did not have a great night. Like, I'm still waiting for those moments. Ace Bailey got 24 minutes. He's still trying to find himself night after night. But those are the things you're going to get game in and game out anyway. Those guys developing. When Lauri Markkanen and Keontae George are showing you a little bit of a glimpse into the future, then stop asking for losses in a moment when this team is winning games and you paid to go watch that team play good basketball and they won that freaking game in overtime last night. I don't want to hear from fans anymore like we got to stop winning. I don't like living in that version anyway. So let me have this. You know what I mean?
This is a lot more fun than last year, right?
Already.
They're more competitive. They're even games they're not winning, it's close. You're seeing a player that the Jazz drafted with a pick that they acquired in that Rudy Gobert trade become a star in front of your own eyes right now. Keontae George is playing elite basketball. He's averaging over 20 points per game. This is back-to-back games where he scored more than 30 points. 37 last night. He was right there with Cooper Flagg as far as who was the best player in the game, right?
He's got 76 points in his last 2 games. Keontae George, if I would have told you at the beginning of the year, he's going to have a stretch where he goes 39 and 37, we would have never believed it.
Coming off the bench?
Well, we would have assumed also that those were flukes. He's been playing well all year, with the exception of a couple games here and there. And he's reverse. And we've talked about it all year. He's the biggest surprise, and he's only gotten better these last 2 years.
And I also need to mention Kyle Filipowski's game last night. 25 points, 9 rebounds. Everyone's talking about the other Duke player when he was like, talk about me. Kyle Filipowski went out there and had a night that got attention on a night where Cooper Flagg was getting a lot of attention.
Yeah.
He stepped up. They don't win that game last night without Kyle Filipowski and what he was able to do. There's so many bright spots for this Jazz team, and if you're a Jazz fan, this is what you wanted. You wanted this team to start getting these players in the draft, acquiring these young, talented players, and then seeing which players are going to emerge as the next generation of Utah Jazz players. They're trying to build something here. It takes time, requires patience. There's been a lot of pain. We knew that. Ryan Smith warned us. There's going to be a lot of pain.
He warned us.
And we're willing to take whatever pain we have to get where we want to go. They're starting to get on the other side of that. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Now, I would love to see them still get that shot at a number 1 pick next year because that draft class is too good. So I don't want them to win too many games. But you don't have to worry about that. This is all even out. The Jazz are still going to be in that picture. They're not going to give up that pick, but there's still no reason to completely gut it and say, we're going to stink and we're not going to try. Because what does that teach your young players, and what does that do for your franchise? You need to maintain a culture of winning while you're rebuilding. And I give Will Hardy a lot of credit for doing that as a head coach. And I think that's why he has so much respect around the league, because those around the league are watching what he's doing in Utah with the challenges that have been placed in front of him that aren't his fault, and how he's managed that and how he's maintained a culture is pretty impressive. The Jazz are on the right track. Are you worried about losing the draft pick? Sure. But what are we doing here? You're trying to win basketball games. You're trying to get better. And if you're not enjoying the growth you're seeing with this team, I don't know what to tell you.
Let's take another break here. We'll come back. Before we do, I want to remind you that, of course, our Hercules Hero of the Week program marches on. And you can nominate your Hercules Hero of the Week just at KSLSports.com/contest. All year long, we honor the people who are awesome youth sports volunteers in your neck of the woods, somebody who is that extra mile without the fanfare. We want to give them a little bit of fanfare. And we read those winners off every Thursday. Just go to KSLSports.com/contest. And those winners also get a prize from Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals, both of whom are great sponsors of the Hercules Hero of the Week program. We'll come back. We'll get you ready for the Mammoth and the Boston Bruins coming up at the top of the hour. Stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The exclusive home of the Utah Mammoth is on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
We're 30 seconds into OT. Mammoth get the puck back. Dylan Gunther starts accelerating across the blue line. Gunther pulls the trigger and scores! Dylan Gunther does it again! Another OT winner for Gunner. And Utah takes it 5-4 in overtime here in Pittsburgh.
locked into JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. We have a shortened show today. That means we only had an hour with you. We appreciate you joining us. We're going to get you also up to the top of the hour with some Utah Mammoth versus Boston Bruins action out at TD Garden in Boston. The Mammoth hoping to keep this thing going. I told you I was in that nonsensical conversation at one point during the in one of the media scrums for something where a couple of media guys were fighting over what a win streak was. And what their editors could call a win streak and everything.
Yeah.
And they were bickering over one, and it was all after the BYU Utah game where I was like, well, I mean, is it a win streak if they only won 2? No, 3 is officially a win streak. So that was like I'll allow it at 3. So tonight, the official editor approved win streak could be happening for this Utah Mammoth team. Don't call it a win streak at 2. Regardless, JJ, this Mammoth team needs to string together more of these wins. The more they can do this without Logan Cooley, I think is even more, one, instructive, and 2, extremely beneficial, obviously, because then when you get him back, however long that takes to get the chemistry back and all that, and him to get back into ice shape and all those things, who knows if it's even this season. But, man, they've been playing great hockey right now. Even if it's been a little bit sloppy, they've been able to be the ones that come out on top. And Boston's a beatable team, even in TD Garden.
They're a good team, but they're a beatable team. Here's another thing I like as far as the Mammoth go. They've been on the road here. Business as usual for them. Boston's coming back from a road trip, and sometimes that's a good team to catch.
Is it a back-to-back, too?
That'd
be nice.
They lost to the Wild.
Either way, they're coming back after.
When was that?
They're coming back after being out of the road.
Correct.
So
yeah.
If it was the Wild,
it's just 2 nights ago.
Yeah, if it was the Wild, it probably
they lost in Minnesota 2 nights ago, and now they're back home. The Mammoth are in their groove. They're on the road. They're comfortable doing this. They're coming off a nice win, big rally over the Penguins. I like the Mammoth to pull one off here tonight. They're not going to be favored for sure, but I think they're going to steal one in Boston.
I think you've had what did Carcone have? 2 goals the other night.
Yeah.
It's guys like him who are showing up that you're going, okay, those you need extra from these peripheral guys, right?
Yeah.
You're Dylan Gunther scoring the game winners in overtime. Like those are things that you pay him the big bucks for. The great defending by Sergachev, that's what you pay the big money for. You get the great goaltending by Veggie, but who's going to be that name that's going to not just arrive tonight? I think that having guys on this team and the whole roster, top to bottom, kind of being not just bought in, but fully on board with this team trying to figure some things out. I think they're fighting a little bit so that people don't talk more about where they're at, in the standings and everything. They've played more games than everybody else in the West to this point, so it's been a tiring season. They're still in the middle of this. They're still in the middle of this thing, and man, they got to crawl back some of those. They got to claw back some of those points if they're going to be taken seriously the rest of the way here. By the way, I wanted to mention you can join Hans and Scotty on KSL Sports every day, of course, noon to 3. But they're going to be at Miki Couture on Thursday from noon to 3. So join them there. Miki Couture has you covered this holiday season. The best gift ever. Visit MikiCouture.com. It is the Mammoth versus the Bruins up next right here on the KSL Sports Zone.